Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about my childhood. Not everything was all picture perfect and rosy like everyone who thinks they knows me was. My family had a successful business, and from the age of 5, my dad took off. So obvious right there, like red flag, daddy issues. But what happened was somebody chose drugs over me. And we're gonna talk about that today, because I know there's a lot of other people whose parents are alcoholics or drug addicts as well, and you don't know how to fully like cope with it. Like, why wasn't I good enough? Why did you have to choose drugs or alcohol over me? And it was just a lot. It was very traumatic. So he started doing crack. That was his drug of choice, was crack. He started doing that when I was like around 5. At 7, I was told what he was doing, and I had to like grow up. So like I kind of had like a normal childhood, but like not really. It was a lot of lies, secrets, like everything in the book like you could think of, like my dad had used as an excuse. My hair is like so poofy right now, but who cares? So it was basically like, oh, I'm gonna go grab milk and then not show up for 3 weeks. It was bad. Oh, I'm gonna go here, not show up for a month, like completely just disappear. There was many times where my mom thought like, oh shit, like he's actually probably dead. She stuck by him through it all as much as she could, and my mom is a real strong woman for that. But he went to so many rehabs, and ever since, from 7 to 13, they got divorced when I was 13 years old, because my mom she just couldn't take it anymore. She was up all night worrying about him. Where the hell is he? Is he doing this? Is he dead? Like, what the hell is actually going on? I would stay with a lot of people during that time, and it was just like a lot. It was a lot of trauma. You know, he would get clean, be good, and then he would go right back to being depressed, just laying in bed all day, wasn't motivated. He would just sit there and not be the same person that I thought was my dad. Me and him haven't had the best relationship, obviously. I blame him for a lot of things. I still have to heal myself from all that trauma that I went through when I was a young kid, and even now at almost 24, I'm still not over it, because it affects me. It affects, you know, like how I communicate with people, how I shut down. If I really start to talk about all the trauma that I went through, it's like a form of PTSD. They're like not fully diagnosing it as PTSD, but it's basically PTSD. If I talk about it too much, I'll start to get stress migraines, and it'll happen on this side of my head. It was just a lot, and a lot of people made fun of me for it. People that I went to school with, the parents made up like this fucking huge story. All right, this video is already gonna get demonetized because I'm swearing, but whatever. That my dad wasn't really in rehab. He was actually a serial killer. So then none of the moms would let their kids hang out with me, because that's what they were told by some nasty, awful bitches that were my classmates' parents. Shout out to all of you for that one. You traumatized my childhood. Yeah, like these people like literally like came for me for no reason. And I was just, you know, living my life in school. I want to say I was in middle school when that happened. But yeah, like people would like make up these weird, crazy stories. Oh, don't let your kid hang out with her because her dad's a serial killer. No, bitch, he was on crack. He wasn't a serial killer. But there was just like so much that he put me and my mom through. Like one time before he moved out of state, he got a really bad batch of whatever he could get his hands on at that point. He drained all his money, stole money from me. It was a lot. Like he literally stole so much money, and he would get clean and then just go back to the vicious cycle. But the one time where he scared me. My dad is not a violent person. He's a very small person. He's only 5'6". Shit, I'm only 5'1". But he got something in his batch. And when I tell you, my mom was so scared, he didn't sleep for 2.5 weeks straight. It was actually more than that. He didn't sleep for like maybe almost a whole month off of what he kept on smoking. He wouldn't sniff it, he would smoke it. Coke is what you sniff, crack is what you smoke. If people who don't understand that, there's a little knowledge for you. But he was like going off in rants, and he would be like, oh my god, and he was like constantly like just every word he was smacking his lips. And he would go off like about the stupidest, littlest, tiny things and like make like this huge commotion about it. And he, one day he said that me and my mom were the devil, that we had devil horns, we were gonna kill him, and that he was God and he was the Almighty and he would smite us. And it was just, it was a lot of weird shit that he kept on sitting there and saying. And my mom was literally so scared. I was like, what the fuck? I was, mind you, shit, how old was I? I was like 11 when this happened. And he would just sit there and just go absolutely nuts, crazy. Like, I can't even think of as many adjectives as I can to describe like how crazy he went. And after that, he left and he moved down to Florida to go to, yet again, another rehab. Oh my god, my hair is really pissing me off. There we go. We're just gonna one side this real quick. My bang wants to go to that side. There we go. Oh, now it looks worse. We'll just leave it. We'll just leave it just like that. And then he finally left and he went to Florida. And on his way down there, he was calling us. There's people sitting on top of street lights, and there's people in my car. And then when I walk up to it, shit, there's nobody in there. He would just sit there and literally go crazy. Shit. He would sit there and he was just like literally going so crazy. And he was like, oh, they're out to get me. They're gonna kill me. Like, no, nobody's gonna kill you. You're just fucking high as shit. Yeah, he was in a lot of rough shape. And I blamed him for like a lot of the shit that I went through as a child. I still blame him when I used to talk to him. Which was a couple of years ago. I haven't talked to him in a long time. And it was just way too much. Like, I literally blamed him for every single little thing. And then if he would come home and visit, I would just sit there and get so pissed off at the world. he would be fine, and then he would go back to acting like how he would when he was on drugs. So then it really like just triggered me. It really, really triggered me. And then I would blow up. I would have a full out like mental breakdown and just blame him for everything and yell and scream and swear and tell him that I wished he was dead. Like I was mean because I was holding in so much of that. And if your parent or anybody you love is a drug addict, alcoholic, it's not your problem. Like, yes, it affects you, but at the end of the day, from somebody who's still dealing with this, granted, I don't really speak to him. He still uses drugs. It may not be crack. I mean, weed is weed, bud is bud. It is what it is. But like he's a lost cause. And I've gotten up and spoken at a lot of Alcoholics Anonymous meetings when I would stay down there with him when he was clean in Florida. And a lot of these people were like, poor me, like, why does this have to happen to me? Like, this person made me do it. Like, no. And I got up there and I spoke. I was only, I want to say I was like maybe 14. And I'm like, it's not poor you, it's poor us, like the family that you're putting this through. You're putting us through so much bullshit, not knowing if you're gonna come home and overdose while you're out trying to get more drugs, if we're gonna have police officers knock on our door to come and identify a body. It was a lot, like, and I made most of these grown-ass men, women just sit there and cry and feel so bad for themselves, because sometimes you really need to put that like in their head, like, hey, you know, yeah, granted you did this all to yourself, but at the end of the day, you're also hurting the people who give a fuck about you. You're hurting your kids, you're hurting your husbands, your wives, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, whoever, whatever your sexual orientation is, whoever you're hurting. You really hurt us because we're just trying to do what's best for you and we're trying to help. And then when the help just wants to give up, and that's all you have to do, you have to give up. You literally have to just wash your hands out of it, and that's it. Like, that's all you have to do. And a lot of this has to do with, you know, when I was growing up, I was always told I was a mistake because my dad was a mistake. It is what it is. I made peace with it. It was a lot. Like, I was mentally, verbally, and emotionally, like, just abused, but like not really like abused, if that makes any sense. Because everybody was mad at my dad, they were mad at me because I look like my dad. And he looks like my grandmother. And they would sit there and just take all their bullshit anger out on me. And I was only a young kid. Like, shit, I'm not even 24 yet. And I basically haven't had a dad since I was 5. And I'm like literally so thankful that my papa, my best friend, who will be 92 in April, he stepped up to the plate and he raised me. He knew how hard it was on my mom, and he was just like, you know what? Fuck it. If I have to raise my granddaughter as my daughter, I'll raise my granddaughter as my daughter. So like even now to this day, like he has like a little bit of dementia, but like he'll even sit there and say, you know, you're my kid, and Aubrey, my daughter, she's not even my great-grandchild. She's just my grandchild because you're my kid. He goes, because I raised you. And he's literally been the best person ever. I am so thankful I still have him. So even though there's always like the dark end of the shittiest tunnel, there's always the greatest silver lining. Like I really like think about it, and it's just like, if my dad didn't do this and if my dad didn't do that, I wouldn't have my daughter. I wouldn't have had to learn the lessons that I had to go through in life to make me a strong person. And you can still be mad at your parent, your aunt, your uncle, your grandparent, who's ever an addict. You can still sit there and be so mad at them, but at the end of the day, you are literally so much stronger because I've had to overcome a lot of mental health issues. I haven't been on any medications since right before, God, I want to say I was 16 or 17, because then I got pregnant with Aubrey when I was 18 turning 19, had her at 19, and then I had turned 20 the year that I had her. So me and her are 19 and a half years age difference, and she literally is my best friend, but she was the silver lining, the true meaning of everything at the end of that very dark, traumatic childhood that I had to deal with. And if there's only like one thing like someone can take away from this video, is that just because your loved one chose drugs or alcohol over you doesn't mean that you're worthless. You are not worthless, because I always thought I was fucking worthless. Like, that's all I thought. I'm just so worthless. Like, obvious fucking daddy issues, abandonment issues, trust issues, like you name it. Like, it did damage me, and I'm trying to overcome that after coming out of a really hard relationship that was all about the lying and no trust and whatever. Granted, he wasn't using, but he might as well have been just using, because it was literally like the same shit. And the moral of the story is, you need to know that it's not your problem anymore, and it's not your fault. Your loved one's drug choices or alcoholism is not your fault. Like, if that's literally the only thing that you can take away from this video, it is not your fault. I tried counseling when I was little. That somewhat helped. Not really. And the list can go on and on. I can do like a 2-hour long video on this, but I want to keep it kind of short, sweet, and to the point. It's been a lot. I'm still not healed. Like I said, I'm still not healed. I don't think I'll ever be healed, because that was literally my whole childhood was ripped out from underneath me, and I had to be an adult at such a young age, and no kid should go through that. My mom tried to make the best out of a shitty situation that was going on, and she's forever amazing for that, and I'm forever thankful that she did that for me. But at the end of the day, you know, it still doesn't change anything that your parent was an addict. And once an addict, always an addict. Addiction is hereditary. And that's why I limit when I drink. I limit doing a lot of stuff, because I don't want to become addicted. I don't want to go down that nasty rabbit hole. And unfortunately, a lot of my family members have gone down through that nasty rabbit hole. It's very dominant gene on my dad's side of the family. I'm not gonna, you know, throw shade at anybody, be salty, say names, whatever, but a lot of my family members are some sort of addict in one way or another, drug or alcohol. And I mean, you know, you just have to make the best out of it and just keep your head high. If anybody can relate to this story, you know, leave a comment down below. And if you guys want me to do more videos like this, I will gladly do more videos like this. But I think I'll end it on that note. There's a lot more I can really like get into, but I'm just not gonna get into it right now. But yeah, so don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on the bell notification. I will be more active on here now. I do have some time now. But yeah, that's it. See you on the next one.